From the land of lakes, this is 10,000 Takes, brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week, and we are ecstatic you've tuned us in. Well, let's see. Since we last did this show,
yes,
3 dominoes have fallen by the wayside.
The Frosts
on the
were
Minnesota
first.
Sports scene. Goodbye, 3 Pete.
Yes. Then the Wild.
Goodbye, chance to go to round 3.
And then your Timberwolves.
And goodbye, 3 Pete going to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
3 dominoes in a matter of days. So I guess now we're stuck with the Minnesota Twins.
Wow.
You get the Lynx have started up. St. Paul Saints, Minnesota United. But we are saved by the Shield.
Well, maybe you are. Well, Lord. Yes, your Minnesota Vikings are going to host the NFL Draft. Whoopee 2028. It's coming to downtown Minneapolis. Apparently the Mall of America and out in Eagan, too. Is that the deal?
Yeah, the footprint's going to be like Sasquatch. It's going to be big.
Why? Why 3 different spots? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, if you think back to the Super Bowl when it was here,
yes,
the Mall of America had a huge presence. Minneapolis obviously did, and St. Paul had some events. So in this case, Eagan is basically Wilfville, right? That's where TCO Performance Center is, the Viking Lakes Village. The MOA is always a draw for visitors, and then you've got U.S. Bank Stadium. So I don't know. I guess they're going to have everybody going in circles.
Yeah. So where do you get a hotel if you're a visitor coming to the Twin Cities for this? So you better get, well, Eagan is not on the light rail line, so that's out.
No.
I don't know, man. They're going to spread this thing out, or maybe they'll have like an NFL experience type thing out in Eagan, because I would think that they're going to use that park that's adjacent to U.S. Bank Stadium for, the main attraction on opening night, right? That would seem to make sense. But again, last time I checked, and you pointed this out earlier this week on the radio, no touchdowns will be scored. No catches will be made. No passes will be thrown. No nothing.
No pass interference calls will be made.
No pass interference calls. No overturned calls by the officials.
No 65-yard field goals, which are now routine in NFL games. No, it's really amazing. We can laugh at this event. We can poke fun at it, but it clearly is a crown jewel happening on the NFL calendar now. Look at Pittsburgh just a few weeks ago.
I know.
They had 800,000, a draft record over the 3-day span. Detroit was $775K 2 years ago. Green Bay was $600K a year ago. So my hunch is now it goes to Washington, D.C. next year in 2027.
Right.
I'm guessing they don't break the record in D.C. I think Minnesota is going to make a big deal about trying to set a draft attendance
record.
Get
it to 1 million.
Just like the Timberwolves did when they played in the Metrodome. Let's set an NBA single-season attendance record. I think the Twin Cities will do it.
Yeah, probably will make a run at it at minimum. I don't know. I have absolutely no desire to have anything to do with any of it. Why do you want to go and stand there and watch the commissioner come out and announce some draft pick? You can do it on TV. B, how many of those guys do you really know anything about unless you are a draft geek? And for those of you who are, congratulations, get a life. I just don't understand. I don't understand the draw.
And not
of this
only
thing.
that, but when these draft choices are made, then you have the so-called experts and the pundits telling you, that's a great pick, that's a bad pick, or it's somewhere in the middle, and nobody really truly knows until after these guys get into the NFL and they get their chance and we find out who hit a home run and who struck out. The other thing that you always have to factor in here in the North Star State, weather.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's hope there's no freakish spring blizzard in late April that all of a sudden for people who might drive in from Wisconsin, the Dakotas are going to come in. Iowa is. People in Canada are going to come down. Let's hope there's no, that nature, cooperates. And people are going to fly in too. But if you get some blizzard, that could cut your attendance down. Detroit didn't have that. Pittsburgh, Green Bay.
Green Bay got away with it.
Yeah. Minneapolis, you need some good weather too.
Well, Anything's possible. So the other big factor here, of course, and you're going to hear this from all the experts, or the community experts anyway, the financial impact of this. How much money is it going to bring into the Twin Cities? And they're talking about over $100 million, because that's what it did in Green Bay, and I don't know. Okay, so there certainly is going to be an impact for certain businesses, particular businesses who are like right in that footprint. Now, I know Green Bay did not have the kind of success outside of like the Lambeau area where the draft was. Like downtown Green Bay, those businesses, they stocked up with food and personnel.
There is a downtown Green Bay?
Well, there is.
Every time I go to Green Bay, the tallest structure I see is the press box at Lambeau.
I didn't say there were big buildings.
Have a skyscraper.
I did not say there were big buildings. I said there was a downtown. Those businesses got nothing out of it. They very little. And some of the businesses who, like these food trucks that are located like right on the edge of this thing, well, folks were led in one way and out another, and these food trucks sat there with all this, all this product that they couldn't get rid of. So I'm just telling you guys out there, restaurants and so on in downtown Minneapolis, beware. Don't go for it unless you really are right in the thick of it.
And I want to suggest something for the Minnesota Twins, because MLB season will already be a month old by late April of 2028.
True.
Since MLB loves to give Minnesota games in April in Minneapolis, beg for that series, that weekend, to get home games. Because you know why? Target Field is a stadium that a lot of people say, I want to go there someday.
That's true.
And they're going to stroll over and watch a Twins game and probably get in dirt cheap.
Well, even if it is the Twins, yes.
That's what I'm saying. And it's almost a bucket list ballpark. And it doesn't get a lot of national TV exposure. But if all these NFL fans come in for the draft, I guarantee you some of them are going to say, and plus Sunday is no draft. That's an NFL free day.
So it's an extra day.
Yeah, get them over to Target Field. Twins, take advantage of this.
Yeah, don't schedule it outside of the Twin Cities. Get some home games that weekend. See if MLB will actually do you a favor for a change. All right, we should take a break.
All right, we are 10K Takes. You're on the clock. Minneapolis draft ticket.
Oh, boy.
Life moves fast, but when that Freddy's hits, you can't help but slow down. Freddy's, this is the good stuff. Try Freddy's new Molten Chocolate Cake Shake and spice it up with Mike's Hot Honey.
Stop by any one of Freddy's 6 Minnesota locations.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Let your adventure begin in Lakeville, Minnesota. We have over 90 places to grab a bite to eat, and we're close to the Mall of America, Valley Fair, and the Minnesota Zoo, plus hotel packages and great rates. Visit Lakeville. We're serious about fun all year round.
10,000 takes rolling along, and the Timberwolves season is el completo. It is over. They were doused by the San Antonio Spurs in 6 games, and so now the offseason has arrived. And joining us now to talk about such is Trent Tucker, former New York Knick, Chicago Bull, San Antonio Spur, and of course played for the Golden Gophers. Trent, as you look at this team going into the offseason, what changes do you expect to happen? What changes do you think need to happen?
Well, I think, first and foremost, with new ownership, I think much sooner than later, they're going to have to decide one way or the other, is this the right coaching staff moving forward? And if either the answer is yes or no, they need to let the players know right away. They need to let the fans know right away so that they can bring in whomever they perceive to be the right coaching staff to move this team forward. And if they believe that the current coaching staff that's in place now, if they're the right guys, they should let them know as quickly as possible. And I think when you look at personnel, I think one of the things that for me that I've seen that this team really needs to add is a quality point guard. When you can bring in a quality point guard now that takes Anthony Edwards off the ball and allows him to operate from different spots on the floor.
And with success, Trent, they had back-to-back trips to the Western Conference Finals this year out in round two. The expectation, the bar is higher. Has it gotten stale with the Chris Finch regime? He's certainly done some very good things here, he and his staff, Mike and Nori and company. But do you feel like maybe they're tuning him out? Mike Ditka once said, after 10 years, players tune you out. Well, I think now it's 5 years and they tune you out.
Well, at some point in time, as new ownership comes in, you have to ask yourself, are we getting better? And is the window still open with this current staff? And are the players buying into what the coaching staff is teaching? And at some point in time, when players are not tuned in anymore, then you may need a new voice in the room. So with the new guys coming in, I think they're going to try to address that situation as quickly as possible, to make sure that this thing does not become stale.
All right, Trent, you mentioned the point guard position. Obviously, they don't have a lot of maneuverability because they don't have many draft picks. Those all went out the window when they traded for Rudy Gobert. They've got a couple. They've got this year's, which is the 28th overall. And they have some futures that they could possibly trade away. But do you see Julius Randle moving? Do you see Jaden McDaniels moving? I saw a quote from Naz Reid after Game 6, and he said something to the effect, we have to be more selfless. That tells me that there are guys that are selfish. Who is that? Who is he talking about?
That's a very good question. I wouldn't have an answer to that. But if guys are not buying in and guys are being selfish, well, then that's up to the coaching staff, to make those changes and to call those guys out and to make sure that, their attitudes are not acceptable. It's because we are a team and we're only going to win if we stand together. You talk about would Julius Randle be traded or Jaden McDaniel. I think Jaden McDaniel is part of the core going forward. But, when you are trying to stay in that window and you need to get better in certain areas, everybody is on the table, I believe, except for Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniel.
Trent, I want you to grade Tim Conley, the general manager, the $44 million man. Now, again, you played in Chicago and New York. Those are pressure cooker markets.
Yep.
Karl Anthony Towns and the Knicks, as we speak, are in the Eastern Conference Finals against Cleveland, Wally's Cavaliers, and they may go to the finals. I never liked the Cat trade from the get-go. Break it down. Is that now a bad deal?
No, it's not a bad deal because a year ago, the Wolves got to the Western Conference Finals. I thought this year against San Antonio, there were times where adjustments were not made to put the team in a better situation to function offensively. And I don't think that's the fault of Julius Randle. You have to look at the guys who are in charge. That goes back to the coaching staff. And what Karl Anthony Towns has been able to do is to allow the Knicks to stay in that window of having a chance to win a championship for the first time in a long time. The Rudy Gobert trade, I thought worked out well for the Wolves. I knew at the time, giving up 5 first-round draft picks, people was very skeptical about the move. But by him coming here, they got the best player to fill a need that they were looking for at that time. And he has helped this team, go back-to-back to Western Conference Finals. This year they just ran into a better team in San Antonio.
Seems to me you're suggesting that perhaps with Karl Anthony Towns now being a more complete player, not just somebody who comes down and wants to shoot a 3 all the time, that they were able to get that out of him in New York, whether it was Tibbs or the current coaching staff. That didn't happen here in Minnesota. I'm not sure Cat was the same player here that he is in New York. Is that what you're suggesting here is that, and you've said it, that the coaching staff has to bear a lot of the blame for what's gone on this year?
Well, when players don't develop, or players are not buying in, or when you face certain situations and things are not changing and you're not seeing adjustments, that comes from the coaching staff. It's because they're the guys that they watch film. They see different trends on a daily basis, and they're the ones that have to put a game plan together so that we can go out and function. And if the Spurs are going to double team, one set of offense that you run, and you continue to run the same offense over and over again, well, good things are not going to happen for you. So that's where you have to be able to counter and attack them from different areas on the floor so that your offense can be productive.
Trent, we had Gary Trent Sr. on the radio a while ago, and he's good friends with Kevin Garnett. He thinks that KG, now that he's back with the T-Wolves as a team ambassador, can be a recruiter for free agents, get him to come to Minnesota. Do you agree with that? And might he be a guy who would whisper in Giannis Antetokounmpo's ear and say, come to the Twin Cities?
Well, having someone like Giannis, it all depends on what you have to give up to get him. And you don't want to bring in one player and leave the tank empty. It's because he's still, if Anthony Edwards goes alongside him, they're still going to need good players to play with. I think when you look at where the Wolves are at right now, I don't think they're far away. I think the windows are still open, but the key position for them is that point guard position. And you can see that as the season moves along, as you get into the playoffs, more burden is put on Anthony Edwards to carry the basketball, and it becomes a lot easier for teams to double team him now and take him out of the offense. And if you look at Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, once they got past year 5 and 6, Phil Jackson just happened to be their coach at that time. He moved both of those guys off the ball, brought in a different offense that they could look at for the first time, and still allowed them to be the best players in the game.
Yeah, and it certainly takes it out of you if you're bringing the ball up and trying to create offense at the same time, and I don't think there's any question about that. Well, Trent, appreciate you spending some time with us and giving us some insight on what may or may not happen this offseason. We'll check in with you when those moves are made and get your opinions on that. Thanks again.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Trent.
He is Trent Tucker, a former Gopher, former Chicago Bull, and of course he won an NBA title with Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Back with more here on 10,000 Takes after this. Stay with us.
Get in the game at St. Croix Casinos in Turtle Lake, Danbury, and Hertel, Wisconsin, your local destination for sports betting. Check out our sportsbook at St. Croix Casinos. From football and soccer to hockey and UFC, you can join the non-stop action. You'll find plenty of options to bet on with our cutting-edge Play Sports kiosks, whether placing live or prop wagers before tuning into the game. That's the book at Turtle Lake, the Red Zone at Danbury, and our sports betting kiosk at Hertel. Find your fortune at St. Croix Casinos.
In Lakeville, Minnesota, dozens of meeting venues are ready to host your next corporate event, banquet, and holiday party. Lakeville has unique conference facilities, a variety of hotels, an abundance of team-building options, and dining that are sure to impress. For suggestions that suit your needs, please call the Lakeville Convention and Visitors Bureau at 952-469-2020 or go to visitlakeville.org. Lakeville, we mean business.
Life moves pretty fast, but not at Freddy's. When that first bite hits, you can't help but slow down. The secret to quality time is just quality and time. That's Freddy's.
Mom, what's wrong with them?
That's called quality time. Don't stare.
Stop by any one of Freddy's 6 Minnesota locations.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision. It's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
We are Minnesota Scores 10,000 Takes. Your Minnesota Twins rolling into the end of May and early June now. Any takeaways from what you've seen so far? Royce Lewis has gone down to the minors. Matt Wallner has gone down to the minors. So, I mean, this tells me, obviously, but just looking at their numbers have been terrible, Wallner and Royce Lewis. Royce Lewis has struggled for the last 3 years. They need these guys, and they need them to get back to where they were, for sure.
Yeah, and especially Royce, who when he started looked like the next Torrey Hunter.
Yeah.
I mean, he was hitting grand slams, making plays in center field. Then he had the injury running into the wall. They moved him into the infield, and the injuries certainly have been a big bugaboo for him, but production now. And that's the reason they sent him to AAA St. Paul. Hopefully he can find his rhythm at the plate and come back. You want a guy like that on your team. He brings energy, but you got to produce. Same with Matt Wallner. I think for me, the takeaways are in the last couple of weeks, the bullpen has looked better.
I agree.
Simeon Woods Richardson was a starter. He was 0-6, and I thought to myself, they're probably going to put him in the pen. They didn't have any options with him the other night against Houston. One flawless inning. Maybe that's his role. As you've seen in the past, some guys aren't cut out to start. But you put him in a bullpen situation and they can excel. Dennis Eckersley back in the day did that. Rick Aguilera made that transition. Good point. Maybe Simeon Woods Richardson can be one of those valuable hold guys or a closer someday. I'm just speculating, but the bullpens look better collectively, and they need that bullpen to step up.
Yeah, and I think they really do need to find somebody or pick somebody at minimum to be their closer. This closer by committee thing, I don't know. It kind of scares me. That Garcia in the other night, and he almost gave that one up. I think that was last Sunday. I would prefer. Look, they used Taylor Rogers the other night, and he's the veteran in the bunch. He doesn't have the velo that he used to have, but he might be your guy. I don't know that he's a long-term answer, but he might be your guy for now. I think that they're still fishing. But I think they do need to find somebody and say, hey, you're our closer.
And I think they want to do that. They just haven't been in that position of winning enough games, except for early on, to say, yeah, we're going to get to the ninth inning, and here's our guy. The other good news is geography. The AL Central is probably the second worst division in baseball right now.
The West
is AL West is absolutely a train wreck. I mean, the West Sacramento A's are on top, and they're below 500. So the Twins are in it. I'm not expecting any moves to be made to bolster this roster.
No, they'll be sellers.
They're still in it.
Yeah, they'll be sellers at the deadline. Well, of course they will. All right. Quickly, any parting shots on your Minnesota Wild? We got about a minute or so here. Any thoughts about what they may or may not do in this offseason, or what they should or should not do? Bill Guerin has said, of course, priority one is to sign Quinn Hughes. I mean, that's a no-brainer. What else are they going to have to do? Are they going to move forward with the same two goaltenders? Are they okay with both Wallstedt and Phillip? I mean, what's the story?
I think you may want to dangle Philip Gustafson. He didn't play a lot in the postseason. It was mostly Jesper Wallstedt, who outside of that game one against Colorado when he gave up 8 of the 9, the ninth was an empty net goal. I thought Jesper was pretty good.
Yeah,
really, very good against Dallas. But if you have a chip there in Philip Gustafson, who they're paying a lot of money to, what can you get in return for him? As you said, they've got to bring Quinn Hughes back. They have to convince Quinn Hughes he can win a cup in Minnesota. The other thing is, take very good notes. You saw Colorado. They eliminated you. Now watch him again in Carolina. That's the bar. That's where it's at right now in the NHL. And who knows, maybe Vegas or Montreal springs the upset.
Could be. All right. More to come. We're not done yet, although probably you want us to be done. Come back for Takes of the Day. That's coming up next. We are Minnesota Scores 10,000 Takes.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Get in the game at St. Croix Casinos in Turtle Lake, Danbury, and Hertel, Wisconsin, your local destination for sports betting. Check out our sportsbook at St. Croix Casinos. From football and soccer to hockey and UFC, you can join the non-stop action. You'll find plenty of options to bet on with our cutting-edge Play Sports kiosks, whether placing live or prop wagers before tuning into the game. That's the book at Turtle Lake, the Red Zone at Danbury, and our sports betting kiosk at Hertel. Find your fortune at St. Croix Casinos.
Hey, get your sports fix by tuning in to 10K Takes. We cover all the Minnesota teams.
Vikings, Twins, Wild, Gophers, you name it. Fox 9 Plus and the Fox Local app.
In Lakeville, Minnesota, dozens of meeting venues are ready to host your next corporate event, banquet, and holiday party. Lakeville has unique conference facilities, a variety of hotels, an abundance of team-building options, and dining that are sure to impress. For suggestions that suit your needs, please call the Lakeville Convention and Visitors Bureau at 952-469-2020 or go to visitlakeville.org. Lakeville, we mean business.
10K Takes on television as we wrap up yet another episode. Big shout out to the viewers in Med City, right here in the Twin Cities, and of course the Twin Ports. And they are waiting. See what your mood is. Angry, grumpy, cranky, sarcastic, happy. What is it this week?
Well, last week when the NFL did their big schedule release, the other nothing burger that they have on their calendar, oh, by the way, to go along with the silly draft, the NFL had a news conference. And there were some questions asked about their television packages and how that's going to work going forward. And are there too many games that are now being served up to streaming services, i.e. Prime, Peacock, Netflix, YouTube, getting more and more games every year? Now, the NFL's argument is that home teams get all of their games in the home market on over-the-air television. And it's a good argument. But as for the rest of the schedule, it's not just ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox anymore. You got to figure in these streaming services, and there is a demographic that watches these games on the streaming services. But the more you put these streaming services out there, and the more you build up a paywall for folks to watch the games, the more people you lose long term. Because when they're on regular, over-the-air, free television, everybody can see it. But if you're just trying to get them to watch just their own team, keep putting them on streaming services then, NFL. I guess you want to whittle down your audience as you go along. Not a great way to go forward if I'm running that business, but okay, they just care about the dollars. They don't care how many people are actually watching them through these streaming services.
Yeah, NFL's a cash cow.
Yeah, they are.
And the mood meter says you're a grumpy Guardian. All right, well, that makes sense. I'm not too happy with the Shield either. I've made the personal decision, unless I'm being paid to be at a game covering it, radio or television, I will not watch a game on a Wednesday night. That includes the season opener, New England and Seattle, a Super Bowl rematch. I will not tune in out of spite. And I'm not going to watch the Rams and the 49ers in Melbourne, Australia on Netflix. I will not tune in. So Thursday, I'm done. I never was into Thursday anyway, except for Thanksgiving. Wednesday, never. Black Friday, probably not. So I want it Sunday and I want it Monday. And if they ever dare give us Taco Tuesday football, I'm done with the NFL. Because they've ruined Sunday at noon. They've ruined that window when you had all these games and it meant something. And then you had the doubleheader games, a Sunday night game and a Monday night game. They are so greedy. And by the way, they're going to have 9 global games this year. That's a record. Minnesota Vikings, San Francisco 49ers in Mexico City. They're going to get 10 next year. That's the most they can get with the bargaining agreement, NFLPA. Roger Goodell, my least favorite commissioner in all of sports, says he wants 16 international games eventually. Wow. Go pound sand.
Yeah, they need to learn less is more.
Oh, boy. Yeah. And on that note, we say thank you and goodbye. We are 10K Takes, your sports take.